Welcome back to another edition of Coast to Coast with J.A. Adande. I'm Israel Gutierrez. J.A., Derrick Rose continues to be in the news, continues to be in the sports conversation for not playing. He spoke again before Game 1 of the Heat Bulls and said it's still up in the air whether he can come back or not. Now, Joakim Noah, his teammate, says that everybody who hasn't gone through what Derrick Rose is going through should just shut up. Now, on the outside looking in, everybody sort of realizes, well, he's been practicing for 2 months. He's been around his teammates. Why can't he play and help this team that's, grinding its way to a second-round series against Miami? So should we all shut up, like Joakim Noah says, or is it fair to criticize Derrick for taking his sweet time coming back?
No, Joakim Noah is absolutely right. Everyone needs to shut up on this. And that's the only downside of the Bulls playing so well in his absence, is that it prolongs the story and puts more pressure on him to come back. But why should there be increased pressure if they are winning without him? And you're bringing up the potential of him actually setting the team back by coming back. You'd have to adjust to a new guy out there that most of these guys haven't played with before. Some of these guys haven't played with before. And certainly the entire team hasn't played with him this season. They've found a way to win. They have found a rhythm. Reminds me of when Jameer Nelson tried to come back in the 2009 NBA Finals after missing a good chunk of the season. What happened? It was a setback for the Orlando Magic. The players said you shouldn't do it, and they were right. And so if you're going to keep winning like this, if you're going to try to bring somebody back who's missed an entire season, hasn't played NBA basketball for an entire year, how exactly is that person supposed to help you win a championship?
Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, if he's been practicing for so long, he should be somewhat sharp. And he should not necessarily wait for that muscle memory to come back and everything else. But you're right. There's a rhythm factor to playing with your teammates against an opponent, and it's different. I do get the frustration because it just keeps hanging it out there. He just sort of keeps it out there like a carrot. Well, I might come back. I might not come back. And you could tell that his own head coach is really tired of answering the question, and he'd like to know a definitive answer one way or the other. But having been in that locker room and listening to guys talk about it, particularly Joakim, you get the sense that there's a real family type of feel in that locker room. They really support him and they're patient with him, and they're not forcing him back. Most teams, most players in the NBA want to be able to shine without that superstar, and so they can get some credit of their own, and the Chicago Bulls team is doing that perfectly. So I now sort of get the idea that internally there is absolutely no pressure on Derrick, and that's why he's really taking his sweet time. And in the meantime, the Bulls are playing great basketball without him. Now,
yeah, don't you think Nate Robinson is loving this? I mean, Nate has the type of ego that thinks he's the best player in the league, and now he's getting his opportunity to prove it. How are you going to tell him, Nate, thanks for winning those games for us, now go have a seat because Derrick is back? You just can't do that. And you talk about the difficulty in bringing people back. It brings up another issue with the New York Knicks and Amari Stoudemire. And I think it's slightly different because as much as they've been criticized for the inability of Amari Stoudemire and Carmelo Anthony to play together, at this point, the Knicks need more. They're having trouble scoring. That started in the Boston series. It's continuing in the Pacers series. And being around the Knicks near the end of the season, they actually were really hoping they could get Amari back because they need that extra scoring and rebounding that he can produce off the bench. So I think it's a different situation because the Knicks seem to be struggling a little bit more as of late. They could use Amari Stoudemire to come back more than the Bulls could use Derrick Rose. And who would thought we would ever say that?
Yeah, there's the sense that they didn't even want Amari back and that, his coming back might cause problems. But I think you're right. Even if it is with the second unit, if he gives them another outlet to pass the ball for an open shot, that's exactly what they need. Some ball movement, some reward for moving the ball rather than just throwing it in and isolating either Carmelo or J.R. Smith. All that wasn't really what they did well when they were playing well at the beginning of the season and at the end of the regular season. So if it encourages ball movement to have him in there and have another scoring option, then that's only going to help. But if Amari comes in feeling like he needs to sort of save the day for a struggling offense in Game 3, then that's going to be a problem too. So it's a unique balancing act between what Amari coming back and what the Knicks have to do. It's a lot less intense than the Derrick Rose conversation, however. But, who knows? Maybe in this second round we'll see both of those guys come back and we'll add some drama to these NBA playoffs. With J.A. Adande, I'm Israel Gutierrez. Thanks for watching another edition of Coast to Coast.